and welcome to the Tales of the Hooniverse podcast. My name is Matt. Well, as most of you know, and if you don't know, if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, where have you been? I know we're not as frequent lately, apologise, but hey ho, we're back. Hello, so welcome to my co-host this evening for an exciting podcast. It's Aidan. Welcome back, Aidan.
Hello, it's good to be back recording again, and I can't wait to possibly nearly cry because of today's story.
One of the most excellent stories that Big Finish has ever produced. It was part of the Cassie arc because it's sort of like an epilogue. It's clearing house. So if you don't know anything about the Cassie arc while you're listening to a podcast or watching it, perhaps about a Doctor Who story that came out, when was it again? 2004. Yes. So before we get down to business for it, we're going to do things a little different this evening because I know this story means a lot to Aidan. But before we dive into it, it stars Colin Baker, the ever so delightful Sixth Doctor, who's unfortunately in a little bit of a what you could call a spat with his lovable companion Evelyn, played by the great late Maggie Stables, featuring an incredible ensemble cast, including Gabriel Wolfe, Governor Rossiter, who most people know as the Beast from New Who, or if you're a classic fan and you've just seen him again recently reprising that role on the big screen, and he's done it on audio as well for Doctor Who. It's Gabriel Wolfe, best known as Sutek to all of us, and you and Neil before him. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, Sutek, God of Death, and expert milkman. As we all know, after his career as Sutek, he decided to try something else, including bringing Sutek's gift of milk to all human life. That would be 48 pence. Although probably more expensive now with inflation, whatever.
Oh, exactly. Before we delve deep into the story, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. So we're going to open it up with the synopsis written by Paul Sutton. It's it's such a good story. So let's start with the synopsis for the episode. On board the TARDIS, nerves are strained. After escaping the Forge and the murderous clutches of Nimrod, the Doctor and Evelyn have things to talk about. The Doctor's attitude towards death is a subject that these days is too close to Evelyn's heart, and eventually she demands to be set down somewhere where she can be free of him for a while. And so they come to Villag, where the Doctor's meddling lands him in the middle of a truly dangerous liaison. And Evelyn meets a man who wants to change the course of her life forever. Love is everywhere, but then war is too. Is it time for Evelyn to leave the Doctor, or is the choice about to be taken out of her hands? And who is to say what is the beginning and what is the end of love? Sorry for a little bit for the start, people. It's because it's the first time I've been doing this for a while, reading while I've been off a computer while doing this. So I think, yeah, the floor is open to you, Aidan, on your opening thoughts tonight for this incredible episode.
Yeah, because honestly, the way I could really describe the story is it's honestly one of those stories that's hard to explain, but it's but it, yeah. So sorry, honestly, it's like the starters are infectious tonight. But yeah, the story does follow on immediately after the Sixth Doctor's portion of Project Lazarus from 2003. Yeah, because that story was split into two halves. One half with the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn, and the other half with Seven. But yeah, if I go into any more of that, that'll be spoilers for that. But we'll cover that story another time. But with Arrangements for War, it is honestly one of those stories that's I think nearly perfect. Because it does deal with the tension of the fallout from Project Lazarus. And yeah, and it mainly splits Six and Evelyn apart for a good chunk of the story. I think it's actually most of the story that I think about it. But yeah, then the Sixth Doctor ends up with like Princess Christina and one of our soldiers, like Corporal Reed, who both love each other. It's like kind of like a Romeo and Juliet sort of deal, but like like Princess Christina is like arranged to be married to one of the neighboring kingdoms, or at least like the prince of like one of the neighboring kingdoms, because their countries are at war, and this is meant to like set like yeah set a peace in motion before an invasion by the race known as the Kaloran, which I didn't actually know much about those, but apparently they were in some Bernie Summerfield stories. But yeah, I mean, I haven't listened to those yet, so yeah, like one of these days, like I'll get around to the Bernie Summerfield stuff. But yeah, that right now my listening or my Doctor Who listening in general is just kind of the length of Aberdeen to Glasgow at this rate. But yeah, but because like this of the Sixth Doctor, like he ends up like accidentally like getting them together and like trying to make sure that like they're not found out. But unfortunately, yeah, they are, and it's really sad to like see because then they're like both the nations like peace like begins to like degrade. Yeah, that's the right word. Like the peace talks like crumble, like, and both nations are like off to war with Corporal Reed's like sent off to fight, and then the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn are like arrested. And speaking of Evelyn, like this story does deal a lot with her as well, because while the Sixth Doctor is doing that, she like whatchamacallit, like Evelyn like does like end up spending most of her time with Governor Justice Rossiter, like played by the legendary Gabriel Wolf, aka Sutekh, the god of death. But yeah, like I will say, like Gabriel Wolf, like he does such a good job as like Governor Rossiter, and like you can tell that him and Evelyn like do have like quite a good connection like with each other, like, and like even in part 3 where like Evelyn's like incarcerated, like after like the letters that the Sixth Doctor was like hiding for like Princess Christina and Corporal Reed, like those letters get discovered, which leads to the peace like breaking down, like right before the Kaloran invasion that they know is going to happen, but they can't tell anyone because like it's in the future and they can't really alter that unless, yeah. But yeah, like the story also does end like tragically as well, like because the Kaloran invasion comes, and during the invasion, like near the end, like both Corporal Reed gets killed in battle, like against the Kalorans, and poor, oh, poor like Princess Christina, like she, she ends up like mourning like Reed's death before she herself is murdered by like Commander Pollock, and oh god, like hearing like the Sixth Doctor be like he was like so distraught, like like after they both died, like he ends up doing something that normally he wouldn't do, like even with Adric, for example, like he never did this with Adric, but he planned to go back to just before they met and prevent them from meeting him, like just so they wouldn't die. But but Evelyn, like she ends up like giving, like she ends up taking the TARDIS, or gets the TARDIS to take them back like a few years earlier, and just to see them like Reed and like Christina be happy and in love, like before the arranged marriage was set up, and the ending, it's just such an emotional story, like, and the ending, like being especially emotional, like with like the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn just talking things out, and yeah, and showing that like him saying that he still cares, like even if he can come across like as like cold, like he doesn't mean to, like he still cares in his own way. And yeah, like it may, yeah, because it does kind of like make you wonder, like every time so like a companion or like anyone dies in the story, like sometimes he just doesn't like show his emotions, like we've seen some examples with like Keres in Absolution, like, and as I mentioned before, like Adric, and even way before then, like people like Katarina, like from the Daleks Master Plan, like he never really stopped to like it doesn't look like he's like processing his grief for their losses, but he does like grieve in his own way, like, and yeah, like it's one of those things in the story that's just like it just it like the story like combined with like the music by like Steve Foxton, like, oh my god, like I know like there's a lot of good Big Finish music like throughout every single story, but I'm going to say it right now. I actually think that Steve Foxton's work in this story is probably some of the best music that Big Finish has ever had in any story. Like I'm calling it like nothing's like really surpassed it. Like other stories have had some great music, but yeah, like this is like the absolute best in my opinion.
No, I absolutely agree. So yeah, you've covered a lot of my thoughts about the story, so I'm going to say a few bits about it that are quite different. So for me, when I first went into the Evelyn arc, I had no idea what an adventure this was going to be. When you go back to how fun the Marianne conspiracy was, where the Doctor and Evelyn, where they were in a time where they knew it was wrong about Queen Mary being in charge of the throne, to this, to the Doctor who's on such breaking point, where like one day he would be because of the Time War, Time Lord Victorious, all that different aspects of the many lives the Doctor and the faces they wear. It's incredible when the Doctor wants to go and break the laws of time, especially Sixie, who is such a rule obeyer, even on the TV side of the show. Even when Perry had her television death, I think he would have broke every rule to get out of that trial to go and save her if the Time Lords didn't hold him at bay. Because he was on the way to save her. For me, this, and as you mentioned, Project Lazarus, is their finest acting. Even though it was a short aspect of their part of that story, hearing Evelyn heartbroken and devastated to this, where she's essentially finished with her Doctor, who she loves and adores, and she was ready to leave him all behind because she was fed up. She was done with the death surrounding her. But an interesting twist, it's a similar twist of fate. The two young people, Cassie, and I'm trying to remember whoever the other person they mentioned was back on Lazarus, died in front of them. And it mirrors that aspect, but that was Evelyn's turn back on that story. This is the Doctor's turn on this story. It's funny how they both mirror each other and both stories complement each other. Also, it's a very political story because they talk so much about the politics of the arranged marriage in this that could set up an essential war, which, doesn't get threaded as obvious so much in Big Finish audios when they do stuff on politics. This will mention it consistently because they were trying to show how damning this was by Princess Christina and Corporal Reed being together would have essentially ended all stuff on the planet, and it did. But the amazing thing with it, though, it's not broken the people, and Governor Rossiter was just such a stifling force. He like one of the best lines Gabriel Wolf uttered in the story that he wouldn't go to war for anybody, just Evelyn, because that's how much he loved her, but he knew he couldn't get involved because it's nothing to do with him. It's the politics of the planet. So he would literally lead a charge just for Evelyn. I think people don't realize who've not listened to the Evelyn stuff is how important she is as a character. And it's really devastating for her, who had her heart essentially broken in the last story, to her physically talking about the little arc that's been threaded since she first joined on the Marianne conspiracy. It's her health, is her arc, because she's been keeping it secret from the doctor. And she could have died in the story. And she was like, "Oh, I'm accepting it. I'm old. It's time for me to go." But then she has doubts and regrets that she's not mentioning it to him. I think that's the beauty of what Paul Sutton's done with this story. Is he's not only highlighted a love and war type ordeal, it's also Evelyn's story. At the end of it, she's the main focus in nearly every single part. You're learning more about her life, especially how she feels heartbroken that she's not her mum's favourite child. She talked about her sister, which I completely forgot about. And you just think that's what she puts on the front. It's because she's had so much thrown at her, and having a doctor that she loves and having Rossiter that she loves. Well, obviously, she'll come back to that part of her story later down the line, but yeah, Arrangements for More is a pinnacle story for people who are coming into Big Finish. It's an acting masterclass because, again, you got Katarina Olsen, who played the princess so well, and she was having way too much fun, especially when she had the gun. She's like, "Ooh, this is exciting! Woo, I've got a gun! Yes, woo!" It's like all that cheering. It just in the height of such a tragic story. There's some great little comedy moments, and there's some
Yeah,
really heart moments. I just think this is how you do an audio that is meant essentially for a visual medium, that the transactions so well into this audio side where you're envisioning everything. All the characters are essential players. Nobody is a weak link in this story. And I have to say, as you highlighted earlier as well, Aidan, if with Steve Foxton's incredible music, the acting side, I think for early Big Finish, this is probably the pinnacle of Colin's acting. This is where he becomes the Sixie everyone adores, because he is doing this because he feels guilty and responsible for the death of young people on his hands. And he's
yeah,
also so heartbroken that he thinks he can't mend his relationship with Evelyn to the end of the story. But all in all, I'm going to hand it back over to you, Ada, because I know you've got bits to say. But I, I will say last year before we head back over to you, yeah, I completely forgot how much the Evelyn arc is a powerful arc for any person, because it ended that prejudice that older people who are actors as well, like because obviously Maggie wasn't young when she came to Evelyn, that it was so good to have an older person in that TARDIS because he's been so used to young people. It's actually a certain American who he name dropped in the story that he used to travel with.
yeah. Surfing Purple Gillian Brown.
Hmm. Perry
Yeah,
Propagillion, yes. Over to you, Aidan. I could tell you got more thoughts on this episode.
yeah. Because I was remembering because I was thinking like about yeah, Evelyn mentioning like throughout like some points during the story that like death like weighed like on her heart quite heavily, like especially like with Cassie and especially yeah, and also like cabin boy Jim because I remember he died like during like their travels like in Doctor and the Pirates and
Hmm.
that yeah, and very nearly Sally, like one of Evelyn's students, like and yeah, like it's just definitely one of those stories that shows like Evelyn like deal like both like Evelyn and the Doctor like deal with like grief and like from death like differently like like even though the Doctor like doesn't mean to be like cold or callous, like he sees it more as like keeping on like moving, like because he don't look back.
Hmm.
And yeah,
I think we're both agreed though. In terms of Big Finish stories, there are some audios where you can nitpick an audio for its faults. And this is another one of those rare times where Big Finish doesn't have any faults with this audio. It's every part
yeah,
was just wonderful. Every four parts, the cliffhangers, the openings, the way it just opened with them on the TARDIS, so you could still feel the tension between both of them. It just
yeah,
made you. It just reminds you that life with the Doctor is never forever. It's just depends on how you take it. And one day it could all end for her travels. We still don't know the official story between how they both would leave each other one day because unfortunately Maggie passed. But the
yeah,
great thing, at least we had some great adventures with her. And Arrangements for
yeah,
War is a definitive top one. I would say though, if you're going into Big Finish, don't listen to this firstly. Please go and listen to the Marianne conspiracy and start her journey there. Though it might feel
yeah,
self-contained, it's not worth jumping in into the middle of the story, not understanding the chemistry between both of them.
yeah. And also, I know, yeah, because I know there is a fault like there's follow to the story like that takes place like long after like Evelyn's like leaves the TARDIS, like because yeah, I was gonna say I might go into a bit of a spoiler here, but she does actually go back to Villag, like, and ends up like getting married to Rossiter.
Yeah. As I
Yeah,
said at the start of this is a 2004 audio. If you've not heard any of it, well, what are you doing here watching it? Well, watching this review.
go and listen to this amazing story.
But no, for me, I just think there are some Big Finish teams that are the pinnacle of Big Finish, and these two are definitely the pinnacle. And the thing that got me so emotional listening back into it this evening is the hug between the Doctor and Evelyn, because
Yeah,
he was not a hugger. Oh, oh God. Um, it's just, it's heartwarming to hear how much they mean to each other. Despite, her wall she built up, it's so good when they get moments and the walls are down and they both just talk. She was the mad lady who came from his university in Sheffield, of all things, and had chocolate cake, and just all she cared about was history. But at the end of it, that was never the reason she loved her travels. She loved it because of him.
yeah, like, and also like feeling like more alive, like traveling and seeing all these like different places. Yeah,
I
because I
think
know it's like mentioned like both in Project Lazarus and this story, like it does mention like her heart condition as well, like which she's kept secret from the Doctor. And I can't remember when he finds out exactly. I'm pretty sure it's in Thicker Than Water. Like correct me if I'm wrong there, but
I don't
yeah,
think it.
like
I don't think it's that later because it acts with Mel. I think it's about a bit not long after.
yeah, because I know it kind of does go into that, like the whole thing, but yeah, like because I know, yeah, 'cause what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, I lost. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what my train of thought was,
No,
but
no, that's
yeah,
fine.
it does. Oh yeah, it got yeah, because I know it does mention like her heart condition, like that she has kept secret from the Doctor, like because she worries that if he found out about it, their travels would be over, pretty much.
Yes. I think it was either the next one, medicinal purposes, or you might be right, thicker than water. I'm gonna have to look into it again.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah, especially since there's a certain doctor that's also in medicinal purposes, though
But you know what?
not officially yet.
That one does make me laugh. That he just goes really over the top Scottishness as Daft Jamie.
Yeah, yeah, played by a certain time, like a certain other incarnation or incarnations, I should say.
Yes, yes. Um, Was there anything bad with the story? I just wish.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to ask you, what kind of question is that? Something bad
No,
with this story?
I only wish though that it hadn't, took away the characters because how heartbroken it turned Evil and the Doctor again, like how snapped he was. But at the same time, it's just great storytelling. I think if that's more from an in-universe perspective, but it's so hard to look at a story or even listen to one and just declare that there's any bad moments with it. I just feel this was setting up for a great arc. It's just so a shame that we lost Maggie Stables because I still felt like there was a load more to do with her and Rossiter before Thicker Than Water happened. But it's just one of those, and I just think great. It's a great chemistry. The entire cast of Scene Stealers. It's like as I said earlier, like who'd ever have thought the headhunter from the Eighth Doctor Adventures, that mad old woman who'd literally be hunting like the Doctor and Lucy throughout time and space, is the princess here who was so nutty with a gun, who was in the romantic love stories. So this is the magic of audio. They literally can play any part, and it's some stuff you would never expect from the actors. Like when you hear Eva like just grumbling, like "Oh, sod it all," it's just like what?
Yeah, like sort it all before you jump off a train.
No. Her life
I,
in train is just so
yeah,
funny.
yeah. I was gonna say, I was about to jokingly say, like, what are you laughing at? That actually happens in the story.
I know because again she has a train story and a companion chronicle later on four, and it's just like is her life just involving trains?
Yeah. uh,
But no, I think that what I love about every story from Big Finish, including like as I say the Evil run, even if the story's not quite hit the mark, we won't mention any names because we're doing a positive review here.
yeah.
It's it's basically she and Colin are the scene stealers. Oh, sorry, I said a bit of a
Yeah,
perfect
like
here.
the Steam Sealers.
Yeah, scene stealers. Sorry about that. It's all a long day, people. Forgive us.
Yeah.
Yes. So no, scene stealers, yes, and they just really work with every cast. Who would ever have thought when they began doing those little audios that Gabriel Wolf would be a main part of this arc for Evelyn, or Bonnie Langford, or Nick Courtney, or Lala Ward? It's just amazing the time they had with all these amazing actors. And you would have traded it. And Arrangements for War, although we don't do ratings as much on these reviews, but if, as I say, we do them on occasion if we feel it deserves it. But this is a solid 20 out of 20. It's top tier audio. I wouldn't change it for the world. And if you told me to go back and listen to again for the first time, when I was getting into audio, I didn't quite gel with audio too much in an ARC format. But when I applied for the Evelyn stuff, it just was so good when you know where it's come from. So please listen to the journey from the start, because obviously Evelyn is such a treasure character in the time that we had with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's yeah. I always wish that we did get more stories with Evelyn, which unfortunately, yeah, sadly that's not possible anymore. But with her, with what the stories that she's done, like she made a huge impression on the Doctor and all of his fans who've listened to her journey.
Yes. So I gave a rating for it. What would you give it, Aiden?
I was gonna say a 20 out of 10. Like like that. I think it's definitely one of my all-time favorite Doctor Who stories. Like, yeah, because I know
Yeah.
like there's a lot of great ones like Master, Davros, Terra Firma, Spare Parts, Life 34, but Arrangements for War for me is definitely possibly like Big Finish's like highest point. I mean, yeah, yeah.
Yes, and
What
it
more
was
can I say?
Yes, and it fixes himself's favourite audio because Colin told me when I seen him last about this audio. So It just goes to show that he's on hundreds of audios for them, and this still stands out as one of the favourites for him. So, because it's such a special audio, and to get the Doctor's seal of approval, it just shows how much the writing meant and how much the acting meant.
Yeah.
Because he goes off and does so many a year, but to pick that one as the favourite, because you've acted with so many people, it's that chemistry of Maggie that I think makes it one of the best stories.
Yeah, and like he's had like so many companions, like through our audio, like he's had his TV companions, Perry and Mel. Then there's also like Flit, Constance, like let me think who else. Hebe.
Yeah.
Wait, Mila. Yeah, just like yes, Mila.
Yes, I wonder who that's supposed to be. No,
Yeah.
I think, but what I love is that no matter how many stories are good stories, you have the companion that stands out for each Doctor on audio when they're creating them.
Yeah.
Like it's like 8 and Charlie, or it's like it's the same 6 and Even. It's those teams everyone knows because the stories are so good. And 7 and Ace and Hex.
Yeah. And yeah, because I know in terms of what are the Big Finish teams, there's also like the other team that I think doesn't get mentioned as much, like Five, Perry, and RMM.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Or
they've had
four,
some. Yeah, they've had
or
some
four.
great stories. Like, and yeah, we're not going to talk about that story. Maybe another time.
Yeah, yes. And also there's 4 Lilo and Margaret, which is a great little run. But obviously you've got to listen to some of the other stuff with Tom at some point.
Yeah, because I think the only like story with Margaret I've experienced is Companion Piece, like where she's captured by the Nine, along with like Liv, Helen, Bliss, River, Charlie, although not Kira's.
Yes, there's Joe, Romana, there's Adric, there's there's Leela herself as well.
Yes, indeed.
And the ghost of Katarina.
Yes.
But no, so the final thoughts of this episode is yes, please go and listen to at www.bigfinish.com. Go get Arrangements for War, which is now £3.99 on download only. But if you can get your hand on the CD copy, which I've luckily got Aiden signed, which I've got to find in the house somewhere to send to him at some point,
Yeah.
which is signed by Mr. Rossiter himself and Colin Baker, because how much the story meant to him. It truly is a wonderful story, but please don't just dive into it. Just start from the Marianne conspiracy and continue on.
Yeah, like with Spectre of Lanyon, more the apocalypse elements. There we go. Yeah, Blood Tide, and then the start of the Project series with Project Twilight.
Written by the dynamic duo themselves, Cavan Scott, who has a rip for Big Finish for ages because he's done something called the High Republic, which is sadly finishing this year, but so hopefully fingers crossed, Big Finish gets him back, and Mark Wright, who's now the overseer, the first and the second Doctor at Big Finish.
Yes, the overseer of like William Hartnell.
Yeah, she is my bitch, you fool.
All right, I shall do an impression of another Doctor. How about that?
Stop trying to steal my bits and curry sauce. Well, we're not delving into that. It's a nice podcast. Keep you clean.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Alrighty, so I think that just concludes Arrangements for War. We will be back next for the Big Finish stuff with the third Doctor for the first time on this podcast, I believe, of Tim Treloar and Children of the Future, which also co-starred the amazing Sadie Miller and Sarah Jane Smith and John Coleshaw standing in once again for the incredible the late Nick Courtney as Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. Lethbridge!
Yeah, and also continues the Sontaran versus Rusin storyline. like that was started in the Battle of Giants Causeway.
Yes, I'm ever so sorry tonight for the butchering of named people. I'm ever so sorry. Please do not send us fan mail of mass destruction or mass hatred, I'm afraid.
Honestly, don't worry, Matt. Like, honestly, you should see how many times I stutter in a day. You'd be surprised.
Oh no, I think because it's so hard when we've done this. I think we must start it immediately from 10 o'clock in the morning each day. I'm just joking.
Yes, wake up early, record a podcast.
Yes. Oh, who's this person at 10 in the morning? Why are you talking to me? Oh my god, I'm on the call. But anyway, thank you so much again for joining us. And we're trying to make the format a bit more laid back because it is quite a lot of information to take in. So we do try to get as much information out, but we try to do it in a fun sense. So thank you for staying with. So we'll be back soon. I've been Matt once again. I've been your host. So it's a good night from me, and it's a good night again from Aidan.
Yes, I hope you all enjoyed tonight's episode, and don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Tales of the Hooniverse YouTube channel. And of course, yes, Queen Slay. Good night, everyone.
Take care again. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, this is Kerries, and you've been listening to the Tales of the Hooniverse podcast.